All right, let's give him a round of applause. All right, how was that? I know there's a few people out here to aspire to lower their tax bill. There he is. Now, with that being said, our next speaker is going to talk some business and wealth strategies that you can use right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Arnold.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here today, and I'm going to be speaking to you about 4 business strategy success principles. So first, I'm going to give you a little bit about myself, talk to you about the top 5 reasons why businesses fail. I'm going to explain what the KLT factor and YFM is all about, the 4 personality types for strategic sales, and the 5 C's for building relationships. So just a little bit about myself. I've been 30 years in sales and marketing, and yes, I am dating myself. That takes me back to high school when I was selling Florida oranges and grapefruits for my local music trip. And I've started 6 businesses, both financial services and in networking. And my last business was 6 figures within a year. In July, I published my first book. It's called Business Strategy Success Principles, an action plan to grow your business and enjoy an easier life. So before we just figure out what to do right, I think it's important to understand what not to do. So this is the top 5 reasons why businesses fail. So number 1 is no market need. Basically, people don't want to buy what you're selling. And so this can be an issue that you haven't done the market research that you need to do. Second is not enough capital to operate your business. And that basically you're running out of money before your business gets off the ground. Third is not the right team. So often what we do is we hire people like ourselves, but what we really want to be doing is hiring to our weakness, because we want to hire generalists as we grow our business, fill in those gaps so that we can grow and prosper. 4 is competition. I think it's important to be aware of your competition, but not be obsessed with your competition. And finally, we can be priced too high that we don't sell enough of a product or service, or priced too low that we can't turn a profit. So it's important to understand you don't want to fall into any of those 5 traps. Those are the top 5 reasons why businesses fail. So next I'm going to tell you the KLT, YFM, what that's all about. So like we heard yesterday, people like to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. Because if they don't know you, how can you do business with you? If they don't like you, they're not likely to want to do business with you. And if they don't trust you, maybe you don't have the experience or the credibility, then they may not have the confidence to do business with you. So really those are 3 things to focus on. So it's also important to be tuned into the YFM frequency. So YFM stands for what's in it for me. So you always want to look at your business through your customer's eye and make sure you're delivering value and solving a problem for them. Next, I'm going to go over the 4 personality types for strategic sales. So I use the Toastmaster terms. There's been many dating back to Hippocrates, the phlegmatic, choleric, and all those, or Sherry Tree. Some of you might have heard of the bank system. Very similar things. So the idea with this is that you don't want to treat everyone with one stroke. You want to customize your communication depending on who you're speaking with. So the first is the initiator. And I also found some bird types so you can actually figure out what kind of bird you are. One other thing, too, is that you may be dominant in one area, but that doesn't mean that you might have lesser characteristics of some of the other personality types. So the first one is the initiator, and that's also known as the rooster. This is a people person who takes action. They tend to be sociable, enthusiastic, fun-loving. They enjoy face-to-face interaction, so you want to, meet face-to-face, but encourage them to socialize and make them feel comfortable. So take that time to build rapport. I think of Polly as a good example of the rooster-type personality. Yeah, there we go. So the next is a direct, aka the eagle. So these are the leaders who get down to business. So they're very results-oriented, focused, competitive. They're busy. They prefer busy, efficient, structured environments. And it's important to have an agenda and also be very punctual in your meetings. So I think JT Fox is definitely a good example of a direct type personality. Supportive, so these are the dove. These are the warm and fuzzy people. Patient, cooperative, sympathetic. You want to use calm, steady communication with them. But they also may be indecisive at times. So you want to make sure they're comfortable and take time in order to make a buying decision. Lastly is we have the analytical type. So these are like the computer programmers, the engineers, very detailed oriented. They strive for perfection in themselves and others, and they're problem solvers. So it's important with them that you want to have a lot of data, charts, and graphs when communication with an analytical type personality. So next I'd like to give some tips for actually when you're networking. So these are the 5 C's for building relationships. So the first one is common ground, so finding some similar interests with the prospect that you're dealing with. And that can be some recreation, or maybe you have some family members. A conversation that is mindful. And what I mean by this is it's like that psychological thing where you imitate the body language of the person that you're speaking with, and that can help build a connection. Next is candid humor. So if you can make your prospect laugh, that goes a long way to building that trust. And then showing that you care, so taking the time to show interest and value in that other person, ask them lots of questions. And finally, a compliment can go a long way to help building a connection. I'd like to end with a story. So there's a guy named Leo, and he worked in the radio business with his father, and then became an accountant. But during the Great Depression, he actually lost his job twice from the accounting business. So what he decided to get back into radio, and he started his own radio repair business. And then he actually got approached by a lot of guys musicians from California, and they were looking to amplify their instruments. So he ended up getting into amplification. And then he partnered with a guy named Clay Kaufman of Rickenbacker Guitars. So they started their own amplifier and guitar business. So Leo's last name was Fender, and that was the birth of Fender amplifiers and guitars. So it just shows you that even if you have to pivot your business, things are going away, you always got to see the silver lining. I'd like to end with an Oprah quote: great communication begins with connection. I also want to mention, too, if you are interested in the book, I do have some copies, and if you want to make a donation to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, I have 17 copies, and I'd be happy to give you a free one. So own your truth, live your dream. Thank you very much.